Hi, I'm Sandeep, and you're watching the Indian Weekender. Tomorrow is going to be a special day as a special report is going to be launched, which will be highlighting the economic contribution of people of Indian origin in the entire New Zealand economy. This report has been commissioned by one of the prominent Indian community organization from West Auckland, Waitakere Indian Association. And to discuss more on this report, we have got President of Waitakere Indian Association, Mr. Sunil Kaushal, joining us at the studio. Welcome to the studio, Sunil. How are you today?
Good, thank you, Sandeep, and thank you very much for this opportunity, and good evening to all the viewers and readers of Indian Weekender.
Sure. So this is going to be a special report, and I'm very excited. I'm pretty sure that all our viewers would also be excited. Have you got the numbers? What is the actual contribution of people of Indian origin to the New Zealand economy?
Sure, thanks, Sandeep. Actually, I'll do it by a caveat that this report belongs to all the 250,000 Indians that are in New Zealand, irrespective of if they classify themselves as Fijian Indians or Indians from India or other parts of the world. And one of the good news story of this is that we have been, probably for the first time, been able to provide scientific data as to the contribution of New Zealand Indians to the New Zealand economy, and that figure stands at $10 billion as of 2019.
$10 billion out of the entire New Zealand economy.
That is
well,
correct.
That sounds to be very good numbers, isn't it?
Well, it is, and it's an exciting number. If you look at the historical figure, in 2013, we were at 4.5, and the population was less than 200,000 or even 150,000. So when the population has increased, our GDP has also grown. And that goes to show that, Indians are skilled people. They are contributing, working hard, working long hours, and contributing positively with their skills, which is much sought after in New Zealand, and they're contributing positively to the New Zealand
Sure,
GDP.
certainly. I'm pretty sure that there will be a lot of excitement. People will want to know more, and I would be asking you a little bit more about the report. But before we go that, we just want to get it right. That have you got this report commissioned by any authorized economist from New Zealand?
Sure. So we've got the support of Office of Ethnic Affairs for this, and the High Commission and Indian Weekender. And what we did was we looked at various economists in New Zealand who specialize in this field, and we approached a very well-known economist, Shamabil Yaku from Sense Partners, and he was very excited and passionate about that. So yes, it's got the credibility that a report needs. It's not written by any B grade or C grade.
Certainly. Well, Shamabil is definitely a big name and a credible name in terms of economists. He really stands up high over there. And if his team is saying that people of Indian origin, regardless of wherever they come from, they're contributing $10 billion in New Zealand economy, then it really, really means a lot. So what else he and his team is saying about the report?
Well, there's few areas what his team is talking about. They're talking about, if we were to talk about the contribution to the GDP, so that comes in various structures and various phases and from various sectors. If you look at, most of the myths and the perception has been that all Indians are all dairy owners, they're all taxi drivers, and they are all different store owners, etc., which is true also. And I think, it's a right time to acknowledge those parents, those people who've run the dairy for 365 days a year without a break, to supply milk, paper, and other things that we need so urgently. I mean, look at the COVID lockdown.
Sure.
Dairies were open, and we would run in there, and how much we appreciated them. So, but what is happening is those people have actually invested their time and money into the next generation. And what we are seeing, according to this report, is that the Indian diaspora in New Zealand is quite heavily weighted in the age group of 20 to 40, which is a highly skilled area, and also below 5.
Working age.
Correct. And, the Indians are workers, and they are about 75% of the population is of working age of the Indian origin. So that's a big number.
Sure.
The other number...
Which is higher than, I guess, national
yes,
average?
National average is about 63%.
63%.
Yeah,
so I think there is a big gap of 7% I was rather say lead, where probably people of Indian origin, they are leading there in the workplace. Isn't it?
Correct. And if you go, I mean, if you go out to the rural areas or something and you ask, and they'll say they'll take, an Indian origin person by, over anyone else because they are hard workers, etc. The other thing is, there's from an education point of view, we're talking about skills, 56% of Indians hold a postgraduate qualification, which
means very high skills.
Yeah, and that's 1.6 times the national average.
Sure.
So that's a big number, So it's like, and that the flip side is, or the positive side, if you want to look at it, the employers need to look at that as a human capital that is sitting there unutilized. That's a for our workers but the other flip side of it is that we don't. The report also shows that Indians are on an average paid $50,000 average. Compared,
which is, I guess, slightly less than the national average. It sits somewhere around 55,000.
Yes.
Right,
So the national average is 55,000, and one of the reasons for that is that.
And if I recall correctly, probably there was a report, I don't know where it was, probably a couple of decades ago, around in the mid-90s, probably that says that Indians, they were in the league of earning around a national average for Indians for around $27,000.
Yeah, that would be true.
And I think now probably we have come a long, long way from there, isn't it?
We have, but then you add the CPI inflation, etc. onto it. But the reason why it is at that low is because of the recent migrants that have come. And one of the things we have as Indian diaspora is we don't really ask our worth. Though we are 1.6 times highly qualified than others,
Right.
so many of us, I'm sure, would have received a letter to say, that, you are overqualified, or you don't have a Kiwi experience.
Sure.
So,
So it means it's high time that everyone, including myself, we can have a chat with our bosses and renegotiate our salaries, isn't it?
Well, see, it's the skill-based. New Zealand is crying out for skills. And when you've got 240,000 or 50,000 people sitting, human capital sitting there, out of that 76 is, highly qualified.
76% is probably in the workforce already.
Correct.
And 56% is highly skilled, isn't
Yeah.
it? Well, I'm really excited to talk a little bit more about that, but I just want to add a little bit more context to this report release, which is happening in this post-COVID world. And I'm pretty sure that you would probably have been working or doing the groundwork to release or to commission this report probably much before the COVID has disrupted our world, isn't it? So just tell us a little bit more about how long you or your association have been working to commission this report and what has changed after the onset of COVID.
I think we've been trying to figure out a way. We were actually looking ourselves for some statistics and data, and for the last 2 years, I think we looked up various options to do maybe a survey. With Diwali, so many people coming, let's engage that. But then the survey only gives you what you want. So if you want something, you get a survey done to answer those questions, and you say this is what it. But we thought, no, let's go and dig the data. So we approached SINS partners and also Statistics New Zealand for the data, which is not readily available. So it takes about 3 to 6 months. We would have had it by April. But, we commissioned it last year, but unfortunately with COVID, everything went into lockdown. And then we were hoping to release it in 14th of August, but again, unfortunately.
Probably, we went into lockdown, isn't it?
Yes, lockdown too.
Right.
Yeah, so we thought before December, there needs to be a good news before the end of this year, which has been really horrible for everyone.
And I'm pretty sure that when we are sitting over here and by the end of 2020, when our world has changed with this COVID, and from next year probably everyone will be looking for some fresh ideas, new ideas, how to revive this economy. And in that space, we know that there is a huge critical shortage of skilled workforce. and then probably with this report out there, and I think our planners, our politicians, leaders, they can have a relook on this important segment, which, as you say, are sitting resource of human capital, isn't it?
That's absolutely right. I mean, people in MB and immigration and other sectors certainly need to look at it. Even in education sector, that we have these skilled migrants or skilled New Zealand Kiwi Indians sitting there are not utilized. How can we use their skills that they've already acquired? They don't need to, or maybe need to just brush up and get into the workforce where there is so much of a gap needed. And I think it'll be great if one of the messages we want for the decision makers, like in the bureaucrats and in the government agencies, is to pick up the report, look at it, and look at the outcomes that are going to be there.
Sure. So I think tomorrow is the report launch, and I'm pretty sure that you would be announcing and telling all of our readers and viewers whereabout they can go and read this report. Probably before I start winding up, I know that you're a very busy man. Can you quickly walk us through like what else this report tells us? Maybe say whereabout Indians are working right now, in which sectors they are working right now.
Sure. So firstly, the report will be available on WIA.org. WIA1.org website. They can also go to our Facebook page, and the link will be there. It'll be
that is Waitakere Indian Association.
Correct. Yes, okay. From 4 p.m. onwards tomorrow evening. Coming back to your other question, what the report shows is that there's about 14% in retail, sure. As you see, in the retail sector, hospitality, etc., 14%, and then 11% in health. So health has a big thing. And about
so 11. When we are saying health, we are probably meaning doctors and nurses.
Yeah, and healthcare. Yes, and so the whole health industry, pharmacies, etc. Sure. About 11% in accommodation. So that's your, food and hotels, etc. And professionals about 11%, in logistics about 5%, and business support 6%, finance 4%.
Where's IT? Like you haven't touched. We Indians, we are known for our. I think our expertise in IT sector.
Yes, you're right. IT and media is about 2.5. However, that's what the current or the previous stats were. But where we are seeing the shift is big growth in health, big growth in professional services, big growth in IT and designer and media kind of a thing. Sure. There's a big growth again in business support and logistics.
Right. So I think that's a very good outcome we are seeing over there, because these were the sectors probably that used to be closed for a quite long time. I think the time when our forefathers of our Kiwi Indians, they were busy in working in those dairies, the retail sector we're talking about. Yeah. But I think now this trend is showing that those sectors are being made open, and the new generation of Kiwi Indians, correct, armed with right skills, they are probably working and getting into that sector, isn't it?
Yes, that's absolutely right. So those sectors are opening up, and the skills are being used in those sectors. So it's a really good news story. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And one thing, like you said, that this report reveals that Indians' contribution in New Zealand economy was $10 billion last year. And do you have any data, like probably what was the contribution of Indians, say, around 10 years ago or maybe 20 years ago?
Yes, in 2013 it was 4.5, and way back in 2000 it was less than 1%.
Right. Okay.
So it was less than $1 billion contributions. Sure. What we've seen is, over the years, with migration, and that's why migration is good for New Zealand, because it's not only bringing in the skills, but it's also contributing. Sure. So no one can say that Indians don't contribute. No one can and should say get on the next plane, because you'll be taking away $10 billion of worth to economy.
I see you making a lot of points over there. I'm pretty sure that our viewers will be picking up on those points, and probably that would be the main goal and objective for you and your team, working hard to get this report out, to probably create the right story that probably Kiwis and New Zealanders, they need to know how Indians, they're integral part of this New Zealand economy, and how they are contributing well, isn't it?
Absolutely right. And last point before you close up is, don't forget that if every Indian votes, 178,000 votes, that Indian population, Indian diaspora
Sure.
brings.
And how many seats would that be?
Roughly around 7 to 9 seats.
Well, I must have to say, Sunil, that you have done your homework quite well, and you are closing on a very sound, positive thing. Although it's a little bit late, probably, since we are releasing this report after elections. Probably, yeah, if you would have been able to do that before elections, probably that would have been more amplified impact, I would say. But it's never too late. I think the message that you and your team, and of course, Sense Partners and Indian Weekender over here, we are trying to tell people out there is that this is the valuable contribution. This is the constructive contribution, which is increasing, as your report is saying, trends are showing. So I think I'm pretty sure that all our viewers and readers, they will be excited to probably read themselves this report, as you say, is freely available?
Yeah, it's freely available to download from weareone.org. It's not a big report, maybe about 20 pages with lots of graphs and all, which is quite quick and easy to read.
And the good thing is that you're releasing it on a weekend, so probably they would have a spare Sunday sitting on over there, and they can do...
Correct, on your smartphone.
Certainly, okay. And now we're not going to talk about your phone, okay? So, okay, on that note, thank you very much, Sunil. Thanks for sharing and coming prepared so well with all your data and figure. I do understand you're a data man. And it would be definitely a good contribution, and probably something that all our Indian New Zealanders, they can cherish, they can read, and let's see how it plays out. Any last message before I let you go for today?
I think thanks very much for the opportunity to interview and also to share it with all your viewers and readers. The report belongs to everyone. Though Waitakere Indian Association has initiated it, but it belongs to all Indians. I think the message we want is every Indian to be proud of how much their society, their community contributes, what skills we bring into New Zealand, that we are a valuable part of New Zealand, and this is our home. We've given up everything. Our forefathers gave up their Sundays, their weekends, and never took a sick leave to drive us around, or they drove taxis, or they had the corner dairy, etc. So let us not be ashamed of that. Let us be proud, Kiwi Indians, that we are contributing, and let us not take it sitting down.
Right, thank you very much. So thanks for your time, Sunil. And we wish you all the best with the report launch event, that is tomorrow. And we will see you again on tomorrow, I guess.
Thank you.
And it's for readers to take up from here. Thank you.
Thank you.